Hi, and welcome to The Question. This is the show where Russell and I debate a question. We see whether we agree or disagree, and then we put it to you, the public, to see what you think and whether we're right or not. But we always are, so it's fine. This week we're debating, is it okay to egg Margaret Thatcher's statue? Now, you've heard the news about what's going on there. There's a guy actually selling eggs outside of the statue. So that's capitalism for you, and I completely support it. But there are people that feel so strongly about Margaret Thatcher's statue that they have decided to take time out of their busy working day, because obviously these people are clearly employed, to egg Margaret Thatcher's statue, to let her soul know what they really thought of her. So
statues in the news again, eh? So obviously we had a lot of this last year and the year before, didn't we? People tearing down statues on the basis that they were in some way offensive from several hundred years ago.
Yeah.
So look, is it okay to damage something? Clearly not.
This is vandalism, clearly. We're asking, is it okay to vandalise?
But we're not talking about hacking her head off. And look, I'm a massive Thatcherite. She is my hero. I mean, I think Margaret Thatcher was the mother of entrepreneurialism in this country, latterly. I think she did far more good than bad. I think those that criticise her with regard to how she dealt with the unions and particularly the miners and so on, I think that is just a very niche, narrow-minded point of view. When you look at Big Bang,
I don't think she was wrong, by the way, with the unions.
The Big Bang in the city, the right to buy your council house, even though that wasn't probably thought out as well as it should be in terms of those council homes being replaced, and particularly when it came to just really pushing, advancing, and encouraging entrepreneurialism and business. You know, Basildon Man, as they used to call it, which was the kind of epitome of Britain, which was someone that had, left school with 2 GCSEs, didn't have much, bought his own house, then set up his own business as a plumber or as a, dry cleaners or whatever it might be. That was all encouraged and facilitated, I would argue, by Thatcher. So I think Thatcher is a goddess, basically.
Ooh, oh my gosh.
I do.
Fangirling.
She's brilliant and wonderful. But I also believe that you should have the right to express yourself. So being able to egg someone's statue, I think, is a right. And I think
it's not.
You should be able to do that
because it's a
form of expression. So chopping her arms and legs off, doing damage, no. Eggs that can be washed off and will be washed off. It's okay.
It is damage.
It's not damage.
Because the more you have to wash it off all the time, you're actually defacing the statue slowly.
I don't think it's permanent. And it's the same as...
So should you be allowed to have people chuck eggs at you?
Well, I'm not a statue. I can't... A statue
you are a gay icon.
I am a gay icon, yeah, really. A statue can't be offended. I can be offended.
Okay.
So there's a difference.
Okay. I don't think you should do that because that's vandalism. I think them having to constantly wash the statue, you're using public resources. It's just not fair. I think it's ridiculous. I do think you can go over there and swear at it. I mean, you look insane if you were just shouting.
On your own.
Yeah, exactly. And my grandfather, you did that. You look crazy shouting at a statue.
The guy that's there, I mean, this was the day after it was unveiled, which was, at the time of filming this, only about 10 days ago. A guy that rocked up with a little stand with a load of eggs. He was selling eggs for £10 each. And obviously he's anti-Thatcher. Yeah. But the fact that
I was about to say, I really hope he's charging a nice markup.
Yeah, no, a huge markup on the basis of supply and demand. If you're there and you want to start throwing eggs, rather than going to the supermarket and buying, I don't know, how much is a dozen eggs, £1 or whatever. I can't sound like Boris Johnson.
£2.
Not knowing what a pint of milk costs. So, there's... You'll have a potential propensity to go and pay £10 for an egg in the moment, I suppose. How entrepreneurial is that? Yeah. And that in itself is ironic, given that the guy that's selling the eggs to denigrate Thatcher is also therefore denigrating, presumably he's on the left, doesn't like entrepreneurialism and capitalism, but he himself is an entrepreneur by very nature of the fact that he's selling eggs for £10. And I presume, actually, that money is not going back to the Socialist Workers' Party or to...
definitely not.
Yeah, it's going into his pocket. So, hypocrite, yes, the guy selling the eggs. But do people have the right to throw the eggs as a protest? Yes, absolutely.
No, they don't, because it's actually damaging the statue. If it didn't damage the statue, if they were just, I don't know, throwing dandelions at the statue, that's fine. You can do that.
Woodstock.
Well, I'm just saying, if they were just throwing dandelions at it, fine. But they're not just throwing dandelions at it. They're throwing eggs that needs to be cleaned up. You're using public resources to constantly have to clean up the statue. Get over it. If you want to chuck sugar at her, can chuck sugar.
But you're
Sugar confetti.
you're a
Woo!
supporter of free speech, right? You're a conservative
Absolutely.
the same as me. So
Yeah.
you believe that even if something is offensive, so I don't want to hear what Nazis have got to
No,
say.
but I don't think
the
they
same as I
shouldn't
don't
do it
really
'cause
want to
I'm
hear
offended.
what John McDonnell and Jeremy Corbyn have got to say. But I still believe, and I'll stand up passionately, as is the old adage, for their right to say what they think. You're effectively saying that that protest by way of throwing an egg shouldn't be allowed in terms
The
of that
thing is,
expression.
I'm not saying they shouldn't do it based on my feelings. My feelings are irrelevant, right? But just like I don't believe the Colston statue in Bristol should have been taken down because that's a form of
Yeah,
vandalism.
but that was damage. That's different.
No, but this is vandalism because when you're throwing eggs at something, you have
Eggs
to
are
constantly.
biodegradable. They're organic.
But it's damaging
Because
the
they're
statue.
eggs.
But this is the thing, though. Like it's the same thing with sort of interlake Britain people gluing themselves to roads, right? That they shouldn't be allowed to do that either because
No,
they're,
no, they
they're
shouldn't.
obstructing the public. In the same way, you're vandalizing public property. You can talk to your council members and say, "I do not
But
like
that's
the
because of the
statue."
inconvenience it's causing to the public. But this isn't causing anyone inconvenience apart from the council.
It is causing
but they'd be cleaning
inconvenience.
it anyway.
It's actually costing the taxpayer because the more and more they have to clean it, the more we're paying for it.
Do you think it's a PR coup on behalf of Thatcherites? The fact that, I mean, Thatcher was Prime Minister from 1979
yeah.
onwards, right? So that's a long, long
91,
time
I
ago.
think.
Till 91 when the wonderful
The
John Major
great
took over.
John Major.
Yeah. But do you think it's a good thing that it's effectively keeping Mrs. Thatcher, Margaret Thatcher, and Thatcherism in the news still further? I mean, it's almost a kind of own goal.
No,
by the egg
I
throwers,
genuinely think it's because Thatcher, the word Thatcher is now like a swear word in the north of the country. I think there are people that will sniff her name. If you
And
name
yeah.
a sweet Thatcher, it would never sell anywhere north of
No, it
Sheffield.
would to me. I'd buy them. I'd buy them all. And then there's people now saying that Boris should be more Thatcher. Boris should be channeling more.
Oh,
Margaret
Boris
Thatcher.
doesn't have a conservative.
Well, and
brain in
he's
his
trying
body.
to do so. They've done that with Rwanda because it's the sort of thing that Margaret Thatcher would have done.
No, she wouldn't because it's a complete waste of money. Just make sure they don't make it to the
Well,
shores
no, I
in the
disagree.
first
I think
place.
it's a wonderful disincentive. Stay in France. If you can bear it. I think you're better off in Syria.
Wartorn France.
Better off in Iraq. Just saying.
Better off in Iraq.
Yeah, than France.
Okay.
Well, yeah, Macron just got re-elected, right?
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even worse, there is one down, and that's Canada under Justin.
Oh,
Trudeau.
I know. Oh my gosh. This is why male feminists suck. If you're male feminist, I find you very, very creepy.
Yeah, and hypocrites.
Yeah, and
Blackface.
not sexy.
Yeah. Okay, so we disagree. We don't disagree that often, but
Yeah, but I just think, I don't care what you do so far as you're not damaging public property or inconveniencing me in any way. I think this ticks the box for me for damaging public property. So that's why I don't think you should be able to do it. And also,
what about defacing a billboard? So at election time, when there's a Conservative Party or Labour Party billboard, is it okay?
that's not public property.
No, but it's someone's property, isn't it? It's private property. That's damage. Is
Yeah,
that
so
okay?
they can sue the private individual who owns it can sue you if they want to, but not the public. Something that's public property that comes out of council budget, which
Yeah,
is
but the
basically
council could sue. The council could sue that individual.
if they want to, but the council don't do many things.
Yeah, I
so.
think we were saying earlier, weren't we, that someone's already lost their job over egging Thatcher. Apparently.
Really?
Yeah. A professor, our friends here were saying, that
Okay.
travelled a fair way from wherever it was. Where was it? Shout out, where was it? Leicester. Professor travelled from Leicester, bought some eggs, egged the statue, put it on social media, idiot, and got fired. So actually, because of his low intellect, despite being a professor, he doesn't deserve to have that job. So perhaps he's done all of those Leicester students a great service. But yeah, look, I stand up within reason for those that have a view to make that view known. I think that's.
I do
that's
think
the
so.
fabric of
Yeah,
democracy.
we just have to draw a line when it comes to public displays. It's the same thing with like the football fans, right? Do they have the right to act the way that they do, or attack people and stuff like that? Clearly not.
Well, no, and do they have the right to chant racist language? Well, clearly not, because that's offensive, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So there has to be a line drawn. So when it becomes ultimately provocative or it incites, hatred or violence, of course not. But throwing eggs at the icon that is Margaret Thatcher, I just
You
think
love her. I love Margaret
I do
Thatcher
love
as well,
her.
but
I
like
do love her. In my office, you haven't seen. In my office, on one of my walls, I have a picture of Margaret Thatcher, head and shoulders, about that tall, that wide, and it's signed.
by her.
Well, no, by John Edwards, who lives at number 15 in my road. Yeah, of course, by her.
Very
Yeah, John. Signed,
transgender Margaret Thatcher.
signed by Margaret Thatcher. Although I did buy it from, well, I think it's a reputable source online. and one would hope that it isn't just a fake signature. I did show it to someone.
Yeah.
I think it was Eric Pickles back in the day. Actually, he said, "No, that's her signature."
Oh my gosh, fine girl. I love Margaret Thatcher. She's the reason why I got interested in politics in the first place. I think if she was alive today to see the Conservative Party, she'd be like, "Kill me again, just take me back."
Yeah, well, yeah, if we could resurrect her, I think the last few years around. Certainly Brexit and the pandemic would have been a very, very different
she would have
story.
been really horrified.
I suspect, well, her approach to the pandemic after a few weeks of kind of looking at data and taking a view would have been, no, let it rip, I suspect.
Let it rip.
She would have had
I'm sure she would have used those exact words.
Well, no, in cabinet maybe she would. She would have had a Belgrano type attitude to the pandemic.
Let it rip.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the next pandemic. What do you think? Let it
rip.
rip.
She would have had a Falklands approach.
Oh my God. Are you talking about a pandemic or farting? We would never know.
Falklands approach to COVID-19.
If you like this, please subscribe, because that's a gem now, and I have to make that like a sound. Like,
it'll have to be a hashtag and a
let it
soundbite.
rip.
It'll go in the teaser video, I'm sure.
So what did the public think?
So we did a survey, as we do with these things. So we asked 1,000 people, and a real cross section, so different ages, different regions, male, female. How many people think that it is okay or not okay to egg Mrs. Thatcher's statue? And actually, ready for this? I'm quite surprised about this. Apparently 67.8% of people think it is not okay. So 67.8% of people agree with you that it's not okay. And I would like to think that's because 67.8% of the population love Margaret Thatcher.
That's not the case. I highly doubt it. That's not the case. I think it's more that enough with the tearing down statues, egging them, doing all this, gluing yourself to public buildings, enough with the public vandalism. It's getting ridiculous.
Well, until next time, we'll have another very interesting and compelling question, another moral dilemma. So yeah, do click and like and subscribe, and put some comments underneath.
I know, and tell me I'm right.
Whether you agree with us or whether you don't agree with us, we don't care really. But you should definitely comment. Let's get the comments going. Cheers. Till next time.